Awesome. So, I don't know, is it snowing where you are right now?
No, it's still just bare.
Really? Okay, so it started snowing here this morning, and I knew that was going to happen, and it's going to be minus 20 tomorrow or something like that.
Ugh.
Yeah, we were out last night, and then I woke up around 8:30. I was trying to do the math in my head so I could be, because I like to be on the couch at 11 to watch football on Sundays. So ran out to the grocery store, went to the gym, and it like started snowing a little bit by the time I left the grocery store. And it's just weird. Like in the city, the amount of bad drivers that there are when the snow comes. It's painful almost,
Mind-boggling.
you know?
Yeah.
Because you get these people that drive these little cars, or I find people that drive like SUVs. Typically, like I don't want to, a stereotypical, or what's that word? Not stereotype, but it's like soccer moms and like the big SUVs. They drive like too fast in bad conditions. Kind of bug me.
And a lot of people aren't rocking winter tires. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I got all seasons, and you're like, yeah, but after -5, they're no longer good at stopping.
Yeah.
That's why it's called like mud and snow. Like they're good in both conditions, but they're not ideal in either.
Yeah, like I have probably I think my tires in my truck are probably around like $2,000, and I drive a truck. I still drive to the conditions. So I mean, if it's icy and cold, kind of like it is today, and the snow, as soon as it hit the ground, it started to stick, and then it becomes ice. I was going 5 kilometers or the speed limit, kind of under, as opposed to being the guy who's now doing 60, 65 on the 50 road, because you got to get ahead in my little car, and I'm like, I don't understand people sometimes. And on the other side of that, then you get the guys driving down the road on like the 80 stretches of little freeway that are doing 50. And I'm like, you're almost being more of a hazard. Like if you can't drive in these conditions, just don't bother, just stay home, because driving 50, you're now causing more problems, because people are now coming up doing 80, slowing down, it's icy, they're going to get in trouble.
For sure. And it'd be nice if they could, if there was like kind of a way of teaching people how to drive to those conditions. But honestly, you only get used to driving those conditions unless you know like the rules of driving those conditions. Like if it's really bad,
well, it's
10% or 20% underneath it, like below the speed limit.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't know what 20% is. They can't
Yeah.
do that mental math. They're like, it's 100. 20% of 100 is like, get one of your passengers to do that calculation for you. But if you don't know it, memorize it. It's 80.
Well, and it comes
Take
down
off
to
20.
driver skill, driver experience, vehicle, all those other little things. I remember there was this one time, there was one winter where I did a snow removal job. My job was to remove snow. So if it snowed, I went and shoveled. If it didn't, I got paid to sit at home.
Yep.
Now,
That was the job.
I was thinking about that today. I was like, so I made $50 a day, regardless if I worked or not. So I was making, I don't know, $700 a paycheck, and I was able to live off of that for months. I don't know how that was feasible. Like how did I live like that?
Very frugally.
I suppose.
Eat at home all the time, so you always went out and bought groceries. But I mean, like, and you also lived in shared accommodations. So I mean, you were always like not paying full rent. You're always paying half rent, half utilities, half this, half that. And I mean, you did have some help with cell phone payments and stuff like that. So
Oh, maybe. But then I do remember, or do recall, I guess I was just I was driving in the worst conditions, because you don't let the city plow the roads and then you drive and shovel snow. You're probably one of those the first people out in the snowstorm. So it'd be, 5 a.m, snowstorm, all the snow everywhere. I'm driving through it, so I'm used to driving in these bad conditions. And there was this one, the days off, though, were great. I could go to the gym. I could play lots of video games. I really caught up on my TV shows that I needed to rewatch for the 17th time. It was nice. And one day in particular, I was driving back from the gym, and it was like a cold January day. And we're driving by the mall. This is in Lethbridge. And all of a sudden, this car in front of me starts, skidding, and it goes across, the 2 lanes, and it comes back, and it actually runs into one of those steel kind of barriers on the side, and I remember watching it flip around, do a 180, and land the other way, and there's a bunch of vehicles, and I was like, oh shit, like we're all doing 60, we're gonna crash into this person. Hit the brakes in my car, and my car like screeched to a halt. Like there was so much traction on the road that my car, it did like arch. It didn't slide. It wasn't like out of control. And I sitting there, and everyone else the exact same thing. Everyone else kind of stops. So I'm looking at this, and there's this little Asian lady, again, not to stereotype, but this little Asian lady like shaking by her wheel of this car that just flew around. And I'm looking at that, and I was like, what the hell happened there?
No idea.
So
was she? It could be like, was she older?
No, she was like looked younger, like maybe like 20s, 30s.
Sometimes on vehicles, like the ignition actually will lock open, and people don't actually know how to deal with it. The instinct is to basically be like, fucking slam on the brakes, but essentially you're just going to smoke up the tires, and you're going to lose all control. All traction is going to be gone. But you're actually, I don't really know what you're supposed to do. It's fucking terrifying when it does happen. I know it's like 1 in a million, but
yeah, I think it's something like, I think she probably slipped a little bit, and then her panic was she went to hit the brakes but hit the gas instead, and then was just in complete chaos. Because I even think as soon as she kind of like hit the barrier and kind of like bounced around, her car then like continued to keep moving forward. So obviously she wasn't hitting the brake.
Yeah.
But still, it's just one of those things where like the first truck like pulled over and there's like 5 of us, and I'm always in those situations. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep moving, because really, honestly, you don't need extra help at this point.
Yeah, especially you don't really want to crowd the scene. Like, that girl's already in shock.
Yeah.
They just need one responsible person to stop, call 911, and be like, we need help dealing with this right now.
Yeah, and
make sure that she's okay, because whiplash is a factor when you're doing 180s in a parking lot.
Yeah, well, it's just it's one of those things too where lots of the times if I see a car accident, I'll be the kind of person that just keeps going. Unless, of course, I see a car go into a ditch, then I might stop and be like, hey, are you okay? But for the most part, I'm like, they probably have it under control. I'm just making the situation worse. I know if it was me, when I did something stupid or I got into a car accident, I wouldn't want 50 people stop. Oh, are you okay? Do you need any help? Because eventually you'd just be like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine. I fucked up. Leave me alone, I'm embarrassed.
You don't want every car on the highway stopping at an accident. That just that's how traffic jams start.
Oh, yes.
So, like, you got to keep with the flow of traffic. So, like, if it's stopped, I mean, general rule of thumb is, like, there should actually be 2 people stopped to help out. One, like, 9 times out of 10 in Canada, you're going to get away with one person stopping and being like, I know exactly what the fuck to do right now. And you're like, how did you happen to be on the road, Mr. Doctor? It's like, I was going to my cabin, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's a small world. So sometimes the right people be in the place at the right time. Sometimes the wrong people are in the place at the wrong time. So
I sometimes do have this weird tendency too, where there's this lady following me today in a Jeep, and she was really close, and it was kind of this down, like I was going down several kind of steeper hills, and at one of the bottoms there was this 4-way stop, so I came to it, and no one else was there, and I started to slide a little bit. And that's always one of those things, someone's right behind you. If you start to slide, no one's coming. It might just be safer just to keep moving, and then there's no collision, right? It's safe, It's secure. But I made a point, because this lady was so close behind me, that I actually like hit the brakes and locked it up and tried to stop as close as I could. And I watched her keep sliding towards me, and there was like a pretty close gap. Like, it was very close to hitting me. Because I think she was driving so poorly, I was trying to make her hit me, just for the fact that I could then give her a hard time and come out and be like, what the fuck are you doing? You know how to drive? Are you fucking stupid? Get all information and just kind of carry on with my day. But I really wanted to braid this person. I wonder what that says about me.
I don't know. You have a little bit of vigilanteism in you.
I suppose.
And maybe a little bit of road rage.
I guess. Well, just, like, there's bad people. Like, I saw this guy ran a red light and a cop pulled up behind him. He then... This is happening in front of me. The guy then drives for, I don't know, like down the rest of the freeway before finally realizing there's a cop behind him, not stopping. And I was like, what is that guy's story? And I just was like, why are those people on the road? I don't know.
Because you can't police everybody, man.
I guess. So there's my rant for this episode, is driving in snow, and it's great. Luckily, I work really early in the morning, so tomorrow there should be no one else on the road, so should not be an issue to get to work.
Well, and me and Hope only have the one car, so basically, some days she takes it, some days I take it. I'm letting her take it more often because it's freaking freezing in the morning, and I don't mind walking because I need the bloody exercise. I sit on a desk all day for like 9 hours a day. I should actually get up and walk for an hour.
Yeah, that's fair.
Kind of just healthy.
Nice.
And she's on her feet all day, so it kind of just balances out. The only thing is she has to take the car to her parking lot, and in her parking lot, it's middle of summer, some lady just backed up into my car and then was like trying to drive away, and this other people like stopped her and were like, "You just hit that car, what are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh no, I didn't." And like I walked out like, "That's my car." And I look at it, it's like she barely hit it, but it was enough to clearly crumple it in, and it's like it was just the dirt, literally just the dirt on her vehicle that pushed in on my on my, because like if you like on my bumper now, there's actually like this kind of dirt outline. It's kind of like this like oddly shaped kind of pressed in, and then there's this little hard rocky shape, and it's literally just dirt and a rock on her bumper that literally pushed up against mine, bent my bumper and moved along. It's like, didn't really do anything else other than that, but it definitely did hit it. So I just gave her shit, and then she started crying. So I felt bad. And I was like, well, now you learn. Drive safe.
That's fair. I also feel like I'm just a brash asshole sometimes. So maybe I should take a step. But you know what? I think most of that's in my brain versus when it comes to like to throw down. I'm typically not that big of a jerk. I just like to pretend I'm a tough guy in my mind. So, I don't know. Because sometimes I have...
Not sure what to tell you on that one.
Like, I think the only time I actually ever get aggressive, and I'd be like, if in the case someone hits me, I'm like, oh, it's fine, just make sure you fill out the paperwork, and our insurance can kind of deal with it. I'd probably be okay with it. But the only time I'm really brash is in grocery store lines, when there's fucking morons in front of me. I once had a lady tell me, what was it? Oh, I did bring reusable bags. And this lady took her time, like she looked like she was a pro shopper. She was really proud of herself. She had her little bags in her bins, and she took extra long time, and her cart was in my way, and I was just like, okay, just don't say anything. And I guess it's my turn. Hey, do you need any bags, sir? And I say, oh, I forgot mine. I should probably, I don't know, grab like 6 will be fine. And this lady then pipes up and says, well, if you put them in your vehicle, you'll never forget your bags, and it's better for the environment. And I looked down at this lady who's sitting there with her stupid looking son in the cart, and I was like, look, lady, you've been in my way for the last 10 minutes and I haven't said a fucking word. Don't talk to me right now. And I was like, if you knew what was best for you, you'd pack up and you'd be out of here now. Go. And the lady was appalled and even looked at the cashier. And I was like, don't give me that. This lady has been a real jerk right now. Like, she's acting like she owns the place. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, I definitely was just a jerk right there for no apparent reason. But that lady just really fucking bugged me. Her son was so goddamn stupid looking.
Can't forgive those. I could forgive her for being an arrogant dick that used recycled bags, which apparently are worse for the environment.
Oh yeah.
And apparently when they get they don't biodegrade it at all. You should actually be using paper. You can't forgive her for the ugly kid. That's the part. That's
what I figured. Regardless, you could be a bitch in a grocery store, but if you have an ugly kid, fuck you.
Christmas time is once a year. Every critter holds it dear. Every animal, big or small. Christmas means so much to us all. It's once a year, it's Christmas time. And it happens once a year. It's once a year at Christmas time. When we hear about how Christmas only comes once a year.
Welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We can be contacted on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast, email us at podtendo@gmail.com, or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Podtendo. I am your co-host Mick, and I will be joined every episode by my co-host
Tyson.
Oh, there you go. That's lots of enthusiasm. Hey, we got our very first listener interaction.
Ooh, first.
Yep. So it was a friend of mine, potentially, that said, hey, I listened to the show, and I really enjoyed how excited you were about Super Mario World. I also agree. It's a great game. That's coming from someone who knows very little about video games, and they were really happy to listen to us talk and gush about that and this positive experience. So, yikes, we really shouldn't have went on this we're asshole and fuck people in grocery store rant, and oh well.
Our bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks for keep listening.
Yeah, thank you. And then there's actually also this really cute shout out to Jessie if you're listening. She'll one of my wife's friends will randomly listen to our podcasts and then take videos of her listening to our podcast in her car and send it to my wife. It's weird. So thanks Jessie. I mean, it's not weird. It's adorable.
Hopefully we're being really meta right now, and you're actually videotaping this and sending it to Tamara, so Mick can actually rewatch this, but from your perspective.
Oh shit! Yeah, that'd be funny, huh? Yeah, we'll work on that. We'll work on the meta-ness. So again, it's about 20 minutes into the podcast, and we're gonna start talking about our game today. We're back.
Yeah.
We're back. We're back to our rambling ways. Today's episode, in the theme of is Christmas, right?
Yes, it is.
It's a big shopping season, lots of consumerism, so we were going to look at a newer title. Originally, we were going to look at the new South Park game that was coming out, Fractured But Whole. Due to some delays, it's not being released now to the spring. So, carrying on with that trend, we're going to be looking at the title that came out a couple years ago here. South Park, The Stick of Truth. The release date was March 4th, 2014. How Long to Beat has this game at 11 hours. Actual retail price was $60. Current eBay price, you can get a copy for about $20, and an eShop price will set you back 30 whole doll hairs.
Or if you pre-order, but don't ever pre-order anything, you actually get this game free if you buy Fractured But Whole.
Really? Oh.
Yes.
Where do you pre-order from? Like EB Games?
Just any eShop. Any eShop.
Really?
So like if you pre-order it on your PlayStation 4, we did it on our Xbox One. That's the only reason why I know that, because Hope was like, I want to play it on the actual Xbox, because we only have it on, actually I think it 3 times, Xbox, PC, and PS3.
Okay.
I apparently really like this game.
I was going to say, I only have the one copy of my PS3. I played through it. I think it's my second playthrough, so I'm playing on the PS3.
Nice.
Yeah. Some development details. This game took 4 years to develop. Parker and Stone contacted Obsidian about making a Fallout or Elder Scrolls style of game. There had been up until this point 2 other big South Park games. South Park in 1998 and South Park Rally in 1999, but Parker and Stone were not actively involved in the development of these games. They were involved in the process up until about 2 weeks before the Stick of Truth was actually shipped. So from initial concept right up to the very end, they had their hands in it the whole time. It definitely shows in this game.
Yeah, they apparently turned in like so many pages of script, like 500 pages of script.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. I was like, holy smoke. Yeah. Well, makes sense. There's a lot of content and side content, right?
Agreed.
So, the game was delayed. Stick of Truth was delayed due to some layoffs for an Xbox One project called North Carolina. Thanks a lot, Microsoft. So did you know that you buying Xboxes and an Xbox One actually delayed this game? So you're just feeding the beast.
My bad.
Yep.
I didn't know.
How dare you? I actually have no idea what... I should probably have looked into what North Carolina was. But, oh well.
Yep.
This game was then thrown into a legal battle between THQ and Obsidian. This resulted in Ubisoft eventually picking up the project and helping finalize it. I do have a quote from, I think it was Parker. He said, I haven't played Earthbound again in forever, but I just remember something about being, oh wow, I'm a little kid in a house, and there's my mom, and I go outside, and I'm fighting an ant and a little mouse. This kind of shows the influence that the early RPGs, those retro RPGs that we kind of love, just the influence that this had on this game. And I like that quote because there's definitely kind of an Earthboundy feel to the title.
Yeah, and they make a lot of references to quite a few video games in this game. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then the boys' designs in this particular title were taken from the 2002 South Park episode, The Return of the Fellowship of the Rings to the Two Towers. It's funny. And
Classic
my last
episode.
note that Tyson is not a fan of. The original classes in this title were supposed to be Paladin, Wizard, Rogue, Adventurer, and Jew. Those were obviously revamped a little bit, and we'll talk about the new classes in just a little bit. Anything to add? Are you astounded by those extensive notes that I just copied off Wikipedia and then read to you?
Oh, you just copied them off Wikipedia. I was going to say, well done on the research, but
Typically that's where
shame on you.
Typically that's where I found my notes. So as I just take Wikipedia and I turn it into an audio form. So, and then
Probably that's the most reliable education that we can provide people.
yeah, well, and then some of them, like the quote I found when I looked at an interview about them talking about developing this game, and that was one of the quotes I pulled away. It was just that kind of spoke to me in a sense where they're actually referencing retro RPGs.
Yep, and they've actually played them and had fun.
Yeah. So if we move on to the control section, pretty basic RPG controls mixed in kind of with the South Park universe on this one. Exploring was fun and simple. You would acquire a different skill to help you explore the world throughout the game, whether it was gnome dust, the anal probe, projectiles, or kind of buddy command. Yeah, any thoughts on kind of the exploring?
No, I think they worked out a fair amount of the glitches, but when this game first launched, it was plagued with glitches. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, I'm hoping that's why they delayed the Fractured Butthole.
Oh, that could be. It is it's a big title, but it's not a big title in the realm of the Fallouts and the like the Elder Scrolls games, right? So it's pretty self-contained. So the fact you can beat it in 11 hours as opposed to 11 hours and you're just running around after sheep in a field somewhere, because that's what you do in Skyrim. You don't play the game, you just fuck with things.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like the Skyrim, you get delayed doing little things in this town. Yeah, there's like you can run around and talk to everybody, but they only have a set amount of dialogue. It's like it's a very small, contained little world. Like it's only the size of South Park, but it was the very first time that you did kind of get to see the whole overworld laid out.
Oh, and the map is pretty close to what you would expect. I think there's a couple, if you call them all avenues that run kind of east to west. There's a couple buildings that should be on the north to south streets that they had to flip around. Yeah. But the leveling system is very basic, like very, very basic. I don't know what effect it has. There's no stat boosts. You get your stat boosts from your armors and your weapons, and basically leveling up just gets you attributes that increases your special attacks.
Yeah, and you can add those, like basically add the modifiers and make your weapons better. So if you're losing, probably should modify your weapons.
Yeah. That was my next note. Very nice. The buddy system was okay. You get one extra character that follows you around and helps you out in battle. They were Kenny, Stan, Kyle, Butters, Cartman, and Jimmy. Now, were there more? Because it looked like on the little dial, there was space for 3 more characters. Were there 3 more like hidden extra buddies? Do you know?
No, those are the only ones.
Okay. My personal favorites were either Butters or Kyle.
Yeah, I definitely rocked me some Butters.
Butters was super powerful. He had a holy attack as a paladin, which was good against most of the enemies in the kind of the later half of the game, as well as his Professor Chaos. Whenever you explore that, if you could get the shield upgrade, it gives you 9 armor. It's just very nice.
Yeah,
and
especially if you're fighting like a boss that only does like 1 attack each turn.
Yeah.
Man, I am set.
Yeah, the only time I'll kind of talk about where that got screwed up, but it unfortunately, if your partner has, let's say, 8 armor and you swap them out, they lose the armor buffs. So it's kind of unfortunate. And then I wanted to play around with all the characters, because last time I played through, I just was Butters. Kyle, he had a Rain of Arrows attack, which was kind of hard to do. You had to hit the buttons like fairly quickly, but it would do 3 to 4 times. It would attack, do, I don't know, like 2,000 to 3,000 damage, plus inflict bleeding damage on all the enemies. So that was really helpful to kind of set up at the start of a battle.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of as a support. And then I loved how your magic and health recovered after every battle. It allowed the game to move a lot quicker and doesn't have too much unnecessary backtracking.
Yeah, or reliance on items.
Yeah, it was just it's just nice to say, oh, I'm almost dead, but I won, so the next battle I'm just fully healed. Because I think with RPGs, lots of the times, all that is just, it just consumes and just adds on hours to the game, so it's nice that they kind of got rid of that.
Yep.
First memories of this game. I watched the Game of Thrones trilogy parody live, or kind of like weekly, back in 2013, and was thrilled to see the punchline was basically just a build-up for a game.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
So it was the boys playing kind of a Game of Thrones style adventure, and the plot of it was, which new system, the Xbox One or the PS4, do we buy as a group, and how do we play it? And it was just them trying to come to terms with those decisions, and that was almost a decision I was having at that point too. I was like, well, do I want to do I switch? Is this when I switch to the Xbox? Do I stay with the PS4? Do I buy them? So it was really neat in that sense. And then, of course, the punchline was, oh, by the way, play this new game. Video games are great.
Yeah, available on both systems.
Mm-hmm. I did watch a playthrough by PewDiePie, because he got an early copy of the game, because he had a bit of a tie-in, I think, on the next season with the show. And then I picked up this title on Black Friday in 2014.
Nice. I got it, I think, when it first came out, because I was like obviously a huge fan of South Park, and basically I bought it and I played as a thief, and me and my all my roommates basically sat in a room watching me play South Park, and we're like, and I'd tell them, like, do you guys want to do anything else? I can turn it off. They're like, no, keep going. It's like, okay, I'll keep going. But it's like I felt like I just hogged the main TV for forever. Bear was like, man, it's like watching South Park. It's so funny, so well written. It's so like, you end up like doing a battle, and then you'll see a little cutscene or whatever, and it's like South Park. So people were just like, nah, you just keep playing, and it's like basically us watching a new season of South Park.
Yeah, it's actually that's pretty awesome. So
it's fantastic.
Nice. We have a special guest. We don't have just our regular announcer today. We've actually paid the money to fly in Cartman to tell you the story of this game. That's pretty exciting, right?
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah. So, without further ado, Cartman, what is this intro? What is the setup? What is the story for this game?
Deep in the lands of Zaron, the humans of Koopa Keep struggle to stay alive as they are attacked by the wicked drow elves of Larnia. Darkness falls as the humans beg their king to save them, a noble king known only as the Grand Wizard. For 1,000 years, the battle has been waged, with only the bravery of the Grand Wizard to protect his human followers. But even though the Wizard King is so undeniably cool, the drow elf armies continue their attacks. They seek the humans' most treasured relic, the Stick of Truth. But the tides of war soon change, as news of a new kid spreads throughout the land. In order to save the humans, the Grand Wizard must get to the new kid before the drow elves can manipulate his mind and use him to take the sacred relic from human hands. For whomever controls the stick controls the universe.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Wow, what a surprise guest.
Absolutely. He would have figured they would.
He didn't want to
would go to his way to pop in. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of those like one of those awkward when you're walking down the hallway and you keep kind of, oh no, I'll go left. Oh no, now we're both going right. Oh no, shoot, this is so weird.
That's the worst.
Oh, just yeah, those are the worst. Or when somebody says, "Hey, how's it going?" You say, "Oh, not much." Fuck. I hate that too. Hey, what's up?
Worst.
Oh, it's going all right. Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn it.
What's up? Oh, pretty good. You're
Yeah.
like, fuck.
But we survived. It's good. I think I had a point, but it's gone now. It's broken. Level notes. Everyone's favorite section. So, get through this. Character creator. Very simple. I created a star child with a pink mohawk. He had little cute stars on his cheeks. Basically, I was just trying to make the weirdest looking guy I could.
Nice. I did I did like just me in the game for the first playthrough, and I've played through it twice. And the second one, I got Hope, my girlfriend, to do it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, it's pretty basic. But the intro, and then we find friends. The game begins kind of just like an episode. We get some vague dialogue about our past, and then we get told by our parents to go outside. There isn't much to do except for saving Butters. Poor little Butters.
yeah. He's getting attacked by an elf.
Yeah, so we kind of step in, help him out. Then we meet the Wizard King, and we learn basic combat controls. The timed hit tutorial is so goddamn annoying. It just, it's just...
The tutorials in this game in general are just bad. Like, all the fart tutorials are just, like, the actual button prompts are glitched out and do not work correctly.
Yeah, actually, I'd say my biggest complaint with this whole game is any of those timed events, or like when you have to give Randy the abortion. It just, the controls are very, like, doesn't make sense. It's...
Yeah. They're very vague for on the screen controls, but I wonder, is that a joke? Like, would South Park do that as a joke? Be like,
oh,
man,
I see.
we hate these things so much.
Oh yeah,
that you have to punish yourself to get through them. So, who knows?
I could see that. It's kind of like a little bit of a commentary on just the state of tutorials in games, right? Like, tutorials are so long now. I guess if you look at it from like an ironic point of view, it's actually pretty well done.
Yeah, but that's us giving them more credit than they put into it, but I'll give them credit where credit's due.
Yeah, that's fair. Awesome. And then, as we're kind of learning after a little tutorial, the elves attack, we help out, everyone is really happy, except the stick of truth is stolen. Oh no.
Yeah, then we move on to the next quest, which is basically we recruit Craig, Tolkien, and I think that's
Tweak.
That's all Tweak, right?
Yeah. So at this point, you get to explore South Park. We already talked about the town layout. I did complete as many side quests as possible here.
Yes, and that's probably the best thing to do is get ahead on the side quests because there's a lot of them.
So Tweak and Token are both fairly simple to rescue. I think it's just a matter of going to their house or something, or like talking to them, right? And then we find out Craig is in detention. So that is our first trip to the school.
Then we raid the school and we defeat the hallway monitor.
Yep.
And then I headed over to the coffee house. And do you want to talk about that quest? Because it's pretty classic.
So the coffee house, the one where you have to go get the special ingredients for Tweak's coffee, and it turns out to be meth.
Yeah, made by Kenny's mom.
No, it's not Kenny's mom. It's like the roommates or something.
Right. But at Kenny's house.
Yeah, by Kenny's house. And then you kind of talk to Kenny's mom, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Typically, those roommates just keep to themselves, and sometimes they're a little sketchy, but most of the time they're okay."
Yep.
Yeah, so we take them out. To get to Token, you have to take out the security guard in front of his house.
Yep. And then you basically have to go to Jimbo's to get the gas mask, because every time you walk up to him, he pepper sprays you.
See, I was already at Jimbo's doing the side quests over there, and I went to the bar, or Skeeter's bar, and killed all the rats in the basement, so I was ahead of the game, so I actually didn't have to backtrack.
Yeah. and it's kind of nice that you can do all that stuff. You can run into City Walk here.
Yes. See, I never do it early on. This is like that's a day 2 or maybe like a little bit later on adventure when you have to fight the Mongolians.
Yeah. I think day 1 has a shorter time frame before the day ends, so it's probably best to do it on day 2 because you don't really need the summons on day 1. Day 1 and night 1 are pretty chill.
I hate the summons. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I hate the summons.
Yeah, they only save you in a really pain in the ass battle.
Yeah, well, I think that might only be a 1-use item.
Yes.
Like, they're not, I think, yeah, well, we could talk about them. Or we could talk about it right now. So you get City Walk with Mr. Quan, I'm guessing is his name?
Yeah, I think it's Kim.
Oh, Mr. Kim. Jesus.
Yep.
Mr.
Slave.
And then is it Mr. Hanky?
Yeah, the Christmas Boo.
So I used, what day was it? It must have been on the alien spaceship. I was fighting... I mean, we don't go into space. At some point, we were on an alien spaceship. One of the guys seemed a little bit more difficult, so I used Jesus and the Christmas Poo. And now that's the night of day 1. Yep. So I'm thinking, it'll reset for day 2. So it wasn't there. So I was like, it'll come back on day 3. It wasn't there on day 3 either. So I think they're a 1-use item.
You just got to go back and talk to them.
Oh, really? You have to reload them.
Yeah, you basically just go talk to them. They're like, oh, hey, here's that medallion, and I'll call you again.
Really? So if I used them, went and did it, I could use them multiple times throughout one day?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, you can use them once per day, but there's 3 days, so you can get them all on day 1. Like, you just got to go talk to Mr. Slave, and you go into his house.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, hey, kid, and basically, I think you have to deliver a package for him or whatever.
Yeah.
And then basically, you get that on day 1, you can go back on day 2 and get it in day 3. You can also grab it. So you can have it for the big raid. Yeah.
Gotcha. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Well, then, I feel silly. Well, I always feel stupid. So, yeah. So where are we at? Going to the...
Onto the end of the giggling donkey?
No, I think you skipped ahead a little bit. We still have to go get Craig out of school.
Right.
And we actually learned that we're a Dovahkiin, or the Dragonborn. That means we can control we have fart powers.
Yep.
Really?
And then we raid the school, and Mr. Mackey is commanding all the hallway monitors who are holding Craig captive.
Yeah. Do you like how they set up the dungeons in this game? They're set pieces from the actual series, and they have some type of theme, right? Like the hall monitors are all ginger kids or something. Do you like that?
I do, actually. I think it's kind of neat, especially because there's so many little Easter eggs and references. Like, you find just random junk items and just throughout that are going into people's houses or whatever. So going into the school, you actually find other kids stuff, and you're like, I think it's kind of neat. So.
See, and I kind of like your theory about that the game is sarcastic, because thinking about it, there's one of the rooms you get in the school, and you walk in, and it's nothing. It's a janitor's closet, and Butters says, well, I don't like when game designers put in useless rooms and dungeons for no purpose. Let's get out of here. And you walk around, and there's literally no pickups in that item, and I was like, that is really clever. I like that little bit of banter. The boss turns out to be the legendary 6th grade hall monitor in this area. He's very easy if you just fart on him. Somehow we learn about the bard. I don't really recall how we learn that the bard potentially might have the stick or know where the stick is. Then we go to the Inn of the Giggling Donkey.
Yes. And then basically we go in there, and it's like the stereotypical saloon. Everybody walks in. Is so-and-so here? Like, right? There's even the record scratch. It's so classic.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically they head their way to the back and make their way to. Then they find Jimmy.
Yes.
Fight their way to the basement, and then they get locked in the basement. Oh no, sorry, they're in the basement, and then they got to fight Jimmy for the first time.
Yeah. Then you, no, you don't fight him in the basement. He just shows up and he sings while you fight the 3 elves. Then he escapes. Yeah. Cartman is left for dead, and Kenny is upstairs being raped. So we have to go upstairs and save our friend.
Yes. And basically Jimmy holds the stick of truth, so he's holding the doorknob, so you have to go in through the attic and break your way in and literally open the door. Like, what a dick.
Yeah. He isn't. So then we go into our second boss fight. We fight the Bard. He isn't too hard.
Yep.
I found the bar darts were really useful against him. They inflict 1 to 3 times bleeding damage per attack, and in about 5 turns, all of his health is gone. So when he has about times 5, he's losing 100 health per damage, and it just makes these extra fights a lot easier.
For sure.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about this. So, with our character customization, you call yourself Tyson, and you're like, yeah, I get to hang out with the boys. So you go to meet the boys, and they say, wait, what's your name, new kid? And you're like, Tyson. And they say, we'll call you Sir Douchebag. And you're like, is this what you... Yeah.
Are you sure you want to be called Douchebag?
No. And they say, well, if you insist, we'll call you Douchebag. So they refer to you as Douchebag. There was a point where after we save Craig, we get knighted and we become Sir Douchebag. So they treat us with respect.
Yeah.
The one thing I guess that leveling does play into this game is the equipment in this game has certain level caps on it.
Yes.
So early on, you get stuck with crappy items. The more levels you gain by doing side quests or collecting friends, you get better access to weapons. So you'll get a wooden sword, and then you'll move into a plastic sword. Then you get a metal sword, and those are kind of capped off. They have restrictions with the levels, so that's kind of nice.
Absolutely, and it's kind of neat that each section kind of has their own set stuff. So like there's the elf armor set, and then there's the underpants gnome armor set. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, this is the last thing we do on day 1, and then it's bedtime.
Yep.
So we
come get you. Say, come go home.
Yeah, we officially become members of the KKK, the clan of the Koopa Keep. That's Cartman's village or his kingdom. Then we get abducted by aliens. It's great.
Yep. Gets dragged off into the middle of the night, and we see Mr. Mackey, who's having that dream again. A random elf kid, and Mr. Slave, who's totally aware of this entire thing that's going on. So freaking funny.
Yeah, the aliens try to probe us. Our amazing ass destroys the probe, and then we can explore around.
Yeah, and we meet Randy.
He's kind of like a weird plot character, like a plot device, like some guy that just walks around and helps us in this game.
Yeah, and he's kind of a better friend than any of our friends are. Anyways, he gets anal probed.
So make your way.
He gets anal probed as we're making our way around the alien ship to try to find the little switches to unlock or undo the force field.
Yeah. So this area it's fairly straightforward if you make your way through it. There is an alien, I guess I called it a boss, kind of like an alien captain at one point. I used my 2 summons on here. You do find various alien technology. It kind of reminds me of the DLC from Fallout 3 where you are beamed aboard a spaceship. But in that game, it's like a 30-minute extra side mission, and you're just not on Earth anymore. And you have to get through the whole spaceship in order to complete the game. It's really off-putting. It's kind of what this reminds me of. We finally make our way to the bridge. We fight the defense matrix and another 2 alien captains, and that's it. The ship crashes. We survived. Hooray.
Yeah. Crashes, and the goo leaks into the sewers, and big bad government gets called.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. There's a bit of it happened again, and the government is called into action. But we're into day 2. So the fallout of the alien spaceship. Cartman informs us that we need to recruit the goth kids. Is that because the stick of truth was stolen?
Yeah, and we need to recruit more allies.
Okay, so the stick of truth was stolen over the night, and we need more allies. So we got to go recruit the goth kids. Because goth kids believe that conformists are bad, they want us to conform and look like goth kids. So we need to get clothes, smokes, and coffee.
So
the elves will try
jumped by elves wandering around.
Yeah.
And basically, Stan and Kyle will give you an ultimatum. They basically say, join us and fuck Cartman.
Yeah. Then you kind of carry on, and it's kind of ambiguous as to what you want to do. I think I sided with Cartman the first time because I really liked having Butters as an ally.
Yeah.
So this time I decided to go with Kyle and Stan instead and become an elf.
Nice.
Mix it up. So everything's going fairly simple. And then the goth kids say, all you have to do is take a picture with the PTA that says, fuck the establishment, and then we know that you're not a conformist. And I'm like, oh, that's simple, right? Oh God, it's really not. It's really not.
Yeah, it's a long, arduous process.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, so then their options is you go to the PTA. The PTA or Randy then says, "Hey, I'll take a picture only if you break into Taco Bell and find out what's going on there."
Yep. And basically, you use your learn the sneaky squeaker.
Yep.
And you distract the guards with the fart and sneak past them.
Yes. Inside, we learn that the CIA is planning to blow up the town to cover up the aliens and the goo that turns people into Nazi zombies.
Yep.
There's a recorder, and again, that kind of sarcastic. Look, I recorded everything on this recorder, and I'm going to leave it right here for 15 minutes, and then I will return and put it in safekeeping rather than take it with me right now because I'm really important. And the guy leaves the room. I'm like, oh, this game.
So you steal the recorder and bring it back to the PTA, but not before a Nazi zombie outbreak.
Nazi zombies. We do have to kind of choose or pick a side that we want to align with, and that'll prompt a battle at the school. So whether we want to go with Cartman or Kyle.
I played through both, so I'll kind of touch on the differences as we go.
Awesome. And then I think between that, so just between the time that we went to go do the PTA mission and went to Taco Bell, I did the tower, the Mongolian tower at this point. I beat the complete sewers. I did the man bear pig side quest. So those are out of the way in my books.
Nice. I hate the sewers. I think it's the worst.
Yeah, it's all right, I guess. I don't know. It's just one of those kind of unnecessary things, you know. I couldn't remember
get lost in it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what the end goal was. So, I mean, I guess on the plus side, you open up a quick access back to the crab people at the end of the game, so it might be worth it just to get to there.
Quick access and for Jimbo's big hunts.
Yeah, there's
kill the bat. I think.
And there's the penis mouse thing down in the sewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the bat in the cave with the crab people.
Yeah, and I think I actually completed the Jimbo side quest, but I just didn't return to him to finish it. I killed the last two creatures and then just didn't bother going and talking to him, so.
Ah, you missed out. He gives you a good weapon.
Oh well. Oops.
Whatever.
Oops. Yeah.
Not like an idiot in this game.
I didn't. Regardless. So then we're at the school trying to attack it so that the stick of truth. So if you side with the elves, the humans are inside defending it, and you have to break in to try and get to Cartman's desk. If you side with Cartman, the elves are inside, and you have to try and get to Kyle's desk.
And if you choose Cartman, Butters joins you, and if you choose Kyle, Jimmy joins you.
Oh, really? See, I like Butters, and no offense, Jim. You're just you're a real detriment to my whole playing style.
Yeah, he's only useful in really one or two battles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If this area I found there's lots of environmental takedowns. If you want to use those, it's an easy way of just kind of avoiding battles. We make our way to the basement where we see that the hall monitors have become Nazi zombies.
We either fight Stan or Butters, depending on if we either chose Kyle or Cartman respectively.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. Oh, I didn't make a note of that. Yeah, poor Butters. I like how kind of wimpy he is.
He's so cute.
Yeah. And then we either battle Cartman or Kyle and recover the stick of truth.
Mm-hmm.
But not really. Actually, I think I remember fighting Kyle, and I remember him being kind of difficult. I fought Cartman this time, and he was a breeze.
Yeah, Kyle's definitely harder than Cartman's kind of underpowered and weak, even though he gives himself these huge big titles.
Well, I think that's part of his character,
kind of
right?
on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Then basically we find out that Clyde wrote check my locker, and then you check his locker and he's got an iPad there and he's holding the stick of truth with the goo and he's making Nazi zombie cats.
Yes, and
with the Vamp Kids. Sorry.
He now controls the universe, so that's right, the Vamp Kids. Oh, really? Vamp Kids. I don't really remember the Vamp Kids when we raided his tower.
Yeah, they were all his minions. They're kind of the kids in the background that are getting like worked by the girls.
Oh, okay. So, on to night 2, we go to sleep, and we are awoken by the Underpants Gnomes.
Yes.
To quickly go through this part, we are shrunk. We are shrank. I wasn't sure exactly what the proper pronunciation. We become small, and we have to battle the gnomes under our parents while they have sex. Were you able to dodge your dad's balls?
I was.
Oh, good.
And then you just get squished at the end by your parents' exhausted bodies after long, loud, violent sex.
Yeah, basically. Wake up in the morning, we now have the ability, the gnome dust, that helps us shrink, and that helps us reach a couple extra areas. I think the anal probe probably helps you out the most to get around the map. But again, it's just extra little areas to explore. So I went to see Kyle, because I was an elf at this point. Or actually, I guess all the boys meet in the Elven Forest. Or if you side with Cartman, do you go to Koopa Keep?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So because I sided with Kyle, I had to go to the Elven Forest, and the boys want us to recruit the girls to help battle Clyde.
So we talked to Annie, who's a girl that we helped out at City Hall.
Yeah.
Who was getting bullied by a bunch of girls.
Yeah, they were taking her Justin Bieber doll. We saved them, so.
Yeah.
Then
we got to figure out if Monica's a bitch or not.
Okay, that's right. I didn't write down the names. I was struggling with that one. So, yeah, they set it up so that we're Bebe's boyfriend, and we meet her in the park, and then she hits on us, so the girls accuse her of being a backstabbing skank. And then her boyfriend shows up, so we have to fight Monica's boyfriend.
Yes.
Right?
Then you beat him up, and then the girls are totally all friends again. And they realize it was actually Jessie, this girl who was spreading rumors, they think, at this abortion clinic. So then we raid the abortion clinic to figure out who was working that day, so they can figure out which one of the girls is the lying two-faced bitch.
Yeah. So when we dressed up as the girls, because we have to have a makeover and we have to go undercover, so it makes sense for us to be a girls. The red wig that you get, I really liked it. I really thought it was funny on my character, so I just rocked that the rest of the game.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So I had a bit of a gender conflict with my little douchebag at some point.
Just like Princess Keene.
Yeah. Randy finds us, and he discovers that the government... They keep thinking it's a Taco Bell, so that's the big joke. It's this big crashed alien spaceship. They have one little tarp on the top of it, and there's a big sign that says, Taco Bell, coming soon. So they keep talking about Taco Bell. Taco Bell is this evil corporation, and they want something to do with the abortion records, or like they're interested in the abortion records of this town. And then
I don't quite remember that one.
Yeah, so the government basically breaks in. We kind of have to avoid some of the agents. Then we get to perform an abortion on Randy, which is delightful.
So funny.
I think I died. I think I failed about 10 times.
Yeah, all these QuickTime events, I just basically, you just fail until the one magical time where you realize something that you're doing. You're like, oh, I just didn't have to hold it down all the time. I was supposed to release it and then press down again. You're like, stupid.
Yeah. So then they're like, oh, you're clearly a doctor and not just a kid dressed up as a doctor giving this man who's actually regardless, Nazi zombie fetuses attack.
Yep.
So we can kind of...
And kill the biggest abortion ever made by one of the Kardashians, I think.
Khloe Kardashian's aborted fetus Nazi zombie. That's the boss of this area. The fight wasn't too hard. I took out the umbilical cord, and then I just rained down pain, as I call it. So I did a bunch of just bleeding attacks and was able to kind of vanquish it.
Playing as a thief really is so nice because you can just literally backstab everybody, and it does like a bunch of bleeding damage all the time, and they keep stacking.
Oh,
and
with why have we talked about classes yet?
No idea.
Okay, so you were a thief.
Yeah. And basically, like, his main ability is backstab, and like that is so your bread and butter, and main thing is bleed damage. And I found he was actually really easy to play the game with, because with Butters or somebody else to kind of do the healing, he would be my main DPS, and all the other characters would just basically be my support classes. Or if you're like, there's a really tough boss, you're like, grab Stan and then just start working through people.
Awesome.
Because why haven't we talked about the battling system like at all?
Well, we kind of touched upon it, so it's
true.
You have
we're also pressed for time, so we got to cut things.
Well, because you can attack, you can use projectiles, you have magic, summons, and then your support character does usually attacks, or they'll have like a special ability and magic. Yeah, don't worry about time. We're good.
Okay.
So escaping.
Sorry, I could have just beat Khloe Kardashian's Nazi fetus.
Yeah. So escaping the abortion clinic, we take the files that we recovered to the girls, but it's written in this strange language of French. So we go and talk to Kyle, or is it Cartman? I think Cartman, and he tells us that we have to go to the mythical land of Canada to get this note translated.
Yes. No, wasn't it? I think it's maybe it's the girls. I think we have to go back to the girls, and they're basically like, because the notes from the abortion clinic.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out who wrote the note saying you're spreading all these rumors.
Yeah.
To figure out whose mom it was. So you got to go to get your passport photo.
Well, because it's in French, so we have to go to Canada. Right. So yeah.
And then we go get past the security guard. Basically, you have to go get your photo taken by a pedophile.
Yep.
You get a stranger danger moment, fight your way out of that, then you can make your way into Canada,
which is just classic. So the rest of the game is in kind of South Park animations. It's kind of in that cutout style, which is funny. You go into Canada and it's 8-bit Canada, and it's kind of got the little like dun 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 theme running in the background. It's so funny.
It's so classic. But oh man, I got so sick and tired of listening to that afterwards.
See, I did this pretty quickly, so I honestly just summed up Canada because there's lots to talk about. But just so we talk to the prince, do politics in Winnipeg, kill the bishop of Banff, learn Nagasaki from the wise sages in Vancouver, and save the French guy from the caves of Quebec. Interest of time. But it's very kind of retro-y Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy style. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Did you get dire AIDS?
I did get dire AIDS.
Oh, that sucks.
And I did fight some dire wolves, because they're like wolves, only dire.
Yeah, it's funny. So then we head back to the girls. The girls are now happy. I would recommend use Nagasaki to collect the crab people armor before we go back and talk to the boys, because once you talk to them, we're storming Clyde's tower. All right? We do battle against, as we kind of make our way up the tower, lots of it's just kind of like environmental puzzles and mini challenges, I guess, as you want to call them, like just regular battles, nothing really too hard.
Yeah, we run into some bunch of Nazi cows and Craig.
Yeah, and this one, if you're fast enough, you can actually make the battle simpler. So there's a candle on one side that lets Stan in, that deactivates one of the elevators, and if you use Nagasaki and let Ike in, he gets rid of the other elevator, so then you just fight Clyde and one cow. Clyde was kind of tough because he kept using this thing where he'd make 5 versions of himself. 4 of them would look just like Clyde, and then one of them would be like a black version or like a Chinese kid dressed up as him.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing super difficult.
And then we run into Randy and Mr. Slave.
Probably the worst part of the game. We learn that there's a snook, which is a nuke that they put in someone's snatch, up Mr. Slave's ass. So we get to climb in Mr. Slave's ass and walk around for a while. It's kind of awful.
We run into all three of the ghosts and make our way to the Sparrow King, who's guarding the bomb, is he not?
Yeah, for some reason he's just like, oh, I'm upset and you have to fight me. And
yes,
so
he's very angry.
Yeah, very angry. He doesn't seem like it, but boy howdy is he. So we take out the Sparrow King, abort the bomb, come out, and then we're kind of just to the there's like the last battle against Clyde, and that's basically the game. So ready for this?
Yep.
All right.
Stretch.
We go into the final room. There's like this weird dialogue about green sauce and Taco Bell and what's it doing. And Clyde reveals his evil, dastardly plan of reviving Chef for us to battle. Nazi zombie chef, or is it? Yeah, I guess it would be Nazi zombie chef. I was unsure, kind of like the ghost pirate argument. Is it Nazi zombie somebody, or is it like Chef the Nazi zombie? I don't know.
I think it's Chef the Nazi zombie.
Okay.
The Nazi zombie chef.
Perfect.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah. I found him to be fairly difficult. So he would kind of charge up and do an attack where he tried to rip your neck, like bite your neck off. And then he would kind of have a moment and be like, oh, children, what am I doing? So you could do a bunch of damage there. But every time he bit you, he'd heal himself. And it was kind of a tough battle, to be honest with you. How did you find it?
I think he's the toughest bad guy in the game.
Yeah. Like just slowly chip away at his health. But again, I think I finally found a good pattern. I was a warrior. I was able to, I think he has what it's called like assault and battery. So you throw a baseball in the air, hit it with your bat, and then hit him a couple times, but to cause bleeding damage. But he's immune to it. Oh, again, it was very difficult.
Yeah, and he's immune to a lot of stuff besides fire, I think.
Yeah, so I basically started spamming my characters where I would start with Butters, do a Professor Chaos, try and get the shield up. Then I'd bring in Kyle, do the arrow rain. I'd bring in Stan to do his flaming sword. Have Cartman come in and do one of his like fart attacks. That's kind of how I chipped away and beat Chef on this playthrough.
I would be like sacking characters, be like, I really hope they attack so and so, and like not my bloody character. And then like some like Butters would die and like sub them out for some, or like then I'd have to revive them, sub them out. It was such a pain in the butt.
Yeah, but when we do finally kind of get him down to at least one health, Clyde will light him on fire. And he comes and just starts running into us and doing damage. We do a fart attack and blow Chef into oblivion. The organization that has been kind of the government and Taco Bell this whole time shows up and tells us the point of the game. I have no idea what the fuck was said for some reason. I was thinking of that and I was like, yeah, it didn't register. So what exactly...
I actually did write this down.
Okay, so what was going on with this organization?
So the government knows that you're the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time that they've ran into you.
Okay.
Your name's Dovahkiin. Your amazing ability is to make friends on Facebook.
Okay, that's what that is.
And that's why that's why they have to combat you, because you could make so many friends. At one point you had something like 6 billion friends. You literally had every person on the entire planet was your friend on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. And then basically, so the government guy strips down naked after he finds the stick controls the universe.
Yeah.
And then Kenny switches sides, and Princess Kenny is actually a half-orc. This is all narrated by Morgan Freeman. Princess Kenny is a half-orc whose village was destroyed by humans and elves, where humans and elves lived in a forest of Hollow Falls. An elf queen fell in love with an orc known as Drandar, the first to hold the stick of the truth. They loved in secret and had a child, the girl who turned out to be Princess Kenny, narrated by Morgan Freeman.
That is pretty epic. It's really nice.
It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Then basically you fight Kenny, and I started beating her with, then you get the final chance to stock up on items, stock up on items and all that stuff. Then you get to fight Princess Kenny. I started fighting her with Cartman.
Yeah, I think I did too. And then you whittle her down with health. She'll summon something You wheel her down for health. You think she's out till she drinks the goo, becomes Nazi zombie princess, or Princess Kenny the Nazi zombie. And then whichever partner you use will kind of... at one point they'll summon death, or she'll summon like a unicorn. And there's like a special timed attack, and every time your buddy takes out her special attack or whatever, they kind of just stand around you and like cheer you on.
Yep. And you basically go through all your characters until the final death.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's you have to kill her, basically drain her health 5 times before she's finally dead, and you take her out by farting on her balls. So the number one rule of being a Dragonborn, a Dovahkiin, having these powers of farts, is you never fart on another man's balls.
Yep.
That's the end pun of this episode. That's it, right?
Basically everybody, all the Nazi zombies turn back to normal because the Dragonborn farted on the princess's balls.
Yeah, they discards the stick of truth. You tell the boys off, and that you don't want to be their friend anymore. Rolls into credits, just like a regular episode. Yep. Did you play any of the New Game Plus, like on the other end? Did you walk around afterwards and complete all the side missions, or you just leave it?
The first time I played it, I made sure that I had all the side missions beat before I did it.
Okay.
And then the second time, because I 100%ed it once, I was like, nah, I've already done it.
That's fair.
So.
All right, so that's it. Beat the game. Congratulations. I recall something about going into the police station. What the hell does the police station have to do in this game?
I honestly don't remember.
But you remember going into the police station, right?
Yeah, I do, and I feel like we have to raid it, but like raid the back area.
Yeah, because there's a ladder on the side that you climb up, and it's something about you need to go, and you end up with like SWAT gear or something. But
yes, that's what it is. It's on the very first day. It's something about it's something to do with SWAT gear.
Okay. All right, well, maybe I'll look into that, and that's a mystery for all you listeners. You can look it up. What do you do in the police station in the South Park game? Current thoughts on this game. I really enjoyed the humor and gameplay. I still think the Jew is the best character class, because he does one attack where he'll summon Moses, and everyone will get fire damage. It's very nice. I don't know how I feel about the forced show references. So, like, everything seemed to be referenced. Like, things like the underpants gnomes. I don't know. I don't know if I like it or don't like it. And I think the Canada portion is truly inspirational. Not that I'm going to go create a game, like an 8-bit game or anything, but it does make me kind of want to look into the process and say, could I make a kind of a fun, like, Flash game or something and, like, put it on Newgrounds? Because that's kind of what it makes me want to do.
Yeah, and I feel like because there's like Unity, which is like the new, it's a pretty decent little game development engine. So that'd be something to look into. I know a lot of smaller games are using it, so that'd probably be the best place to kind of start.
Awesome.
My thoughts on the game, I really like it. I really think that the sense of humor is really good. I'm a big person that loves South Park, so I get the sense of humor, and I really enjoy it. So I really like it.
Cool. All right. End this off by an "Are you buying it?" And that's it. Like, we're done. I was looking at kind of theories about this game, theories just about the universe. Nothing really stood out in line, except one person had this theory. Cartman is actually gay. So if you look how hateful this character is and how he tries to oppress every other person on the planet, like, why would someone be filled with that much hate who has a pretty easygoing life? It just could explain, he's just, he's overweight, he's confused about his sexual feelings, and he doesn't know how to properly express himself or deal with these things, so he lashes out at other people. He picks on the redheaded Jewish kid because he's kind of an equal visual minority in his eyes, and that's kind of the main reason for his hate in this series. So are you buying that theory that potentially he could be confused about his sexual identity?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, look at the episode with Minicupid and him. Yep. Those two have a very strange relationship.
All right, awesome. So, what did we miss? Did we miss anything?
Probably a lot, but I mean, we're not going to go into every single reference. Play the game yourselves. I think we summarized it quite concisely, but probably over in too much in a few areas.
Yeah, that's all right. Good. All right, so I guess just finish with our closing, and we're out of here. So in closing, thank you for listening. You can contact Podtendo on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast, email us at podtendo@gmail.com, or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Podtendo. The music of Podtendo was used without permission and is property of Nintendo.